The definition of a prophet is a person, sent by God, that commits to actions according to the will of God. A lot of that can be pretty vague considering we are all sent here, and God's will can even be destruction, if he chooses it to be so. A prophet must be something special that others aren't. For what reason? To lead us where? God's image. That is where we will base our answer. We are made in it. This is how we can recognize a prophet. Ideas that are based on primitive stimuli are not in the image of God, since he is much more than that. The way that human beings are able to think past primitive brain processing is by sheer cognition. These primitive processes are those such as a sense of fulfillment, ideas to secure a mass following, or ideas of power. You would think past these ideas using your cognition. When fulfilling these ideas, you can recognize them as pride, but these ideas can be secured by greed, lust, or even gluttony. Even if you're not sure of one's intent, you can be certain that there is a basis to the person's thought processes, and if that base is not according to evolutionary progress and manifestation, then you can be certain that they are not trying to commit to the will of God, which is that of creation. Regardless of the act, he is always trying to create something out of another thing. This is perhaps what happened to Job, in the book of Job. But I could be wrong, since I am not God. Additionally, there exist ideas that are processed along the structures of cognition, but more importantly, they are absolute in helping us move toward the progression of the image of God, like patience and diligence. However, these positive ideas can be rendered useless when that same cognitive ability applies ideas of pride and gluttonous tendencies to them, granting the brain a kind of plateau effect in its logic. This plateau is applied because the brain decides that indulgence is better than thinking logically. Flat earthers are my favorite example of the brain being driven by primitive stimuli. They are so excited about pioneering a new idea of the world that they become blind to the science readily available to them. In regards to what I said about God destroying as he determines it is necessary. Sometimes, things must be destroyed in order to create. Just as there are trees that easily ignite in order for nature to start fires, make space, and enrich the soil with fresh chemistry that is given off from the ashes. On the lower side of the destructive spectrum, in my own theoretical processing, I would like us to acknowledge that foolishness, like flat earth, may exist so that we don't have to make fun of others for no reason. God presented us with people willing to be foolish to entertain us. Just be patient. Let the world reveal the self-destructive, and let it satiate those who feel that people need to be made fun of. On a more destructive side of the spectrum, people like Middle Eastern extremists may exist to teach us balance, or to find other ways for a solution. Rather than blowing yourself to bits, he sent you here to learn and experience, not destroy. This kind of destruction leads to nothing, which is the opposite of an almighty God. Human beings are capable of learning to live life progressively. Is this lady throwing you off? It means read. I want you to read. Since I feel this video is a little short, yet powerful, I also would like to add the following. To know if you are deserving of power requires great thought processing. You must determine who you are, what you have, what you are doing, and most importantly who you have been or will be when exerting your power. You are not deserving of power, you just use it out of simple-minded desire. Ah, Almighty, bless our thoughts. May they be pure, free of greed, gluttony, pride, and may they be all progressive. Just as long as they are not against me, Philippete, and if they are, I hope there is a solid audience that will sedate you in thoughts of the congregation. Logic over majority rule. You have no reference. What if they are in complete and utter control over their action? Control is of God. Self-control especially. It could even be thought of as a test that he performs on himself, even more so if he is in God's grace. What if God was certain about the angel's level of self-control? Are you able to determine his level of control?